Welcome back to Real Estate Success Partner. I'm your host, Devin Dubuque. Today I've got returning co-host Bobby Zapol. And Bobby, my man, has brought on a legend in the DMV marketplace. Bobby, who'd you bring along today, brother?
Like you said, a legend in the marketplace. Hazel Shakur. She is one of, if not the top producing agents within the entire DMV market. She actually just had 3 closings this morning before we even scheduled this or got this podcast rolling. And after 21 years, 1,160 happy transactions, happy homeowners. She's been making dreams come true for that entire period of time. So
Well, I think the 160 was just in the last 12 months, or is that in the last month? What was that?
Actually, we're at over 125 just in the last 12 months.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Absolutely unbelievable. So did you start when you were like 3 years old, or like how did you do it?
Oh, you're too kind.
So, well, welcome to the show, Hazel. Super
Thank you.
excited to have you here. You've got your hand in so many different things. Recently started a podcast too. What's the name of the podcast?
Let's Hustle Homes with Hazel.
Let's Hustle Homes with Hazel, and hustle you do. She got on the pre-podcast in the green room. She's on the phone, putting out fires, and we stole 25 minutes, so we got her here. So thank you so much. And if you haven't tuned in to Let's Hustle Homes with Hazel, where do we find that? What's your channel?
Well, I'm on YouTube, but I'm also on Spotify and I want to say Apple Podcasts.
Very cool.
The people who do the technical stuff know, but yes, you can usually.
We'll figure it out, and we'll drop it in the description, and we'll put it across the lower thirds. But I just wanted to ask because we let in with that. And if you're not listening, get out there and listen, and make sure that you subscribe, right? Subscribe to that podcast. We want lots and lots of subscribers, and you're going to love what Hazel has to say, because not only is she a real estate professional, but she also has a little coaching background inside of her as well. So I promise you, this is one of the best in the industry, and you're gonna want to tune in. So, but let's get to know you a little bit. For the folks that have been hiding under a rock, where are you from originally? Are you native?
Yeah, no. So I was born in the Philippines. I'm a Navy brat, and so from the Philippines up and down the East and West Coast, I ended up finishing high school here in the DMV, decided to attend American University, graduated, and just decided that this is where I wanted to build my life. So I've been here wow, this is the longest I've ever lived anywhere. And so, yeah, I'm here and I love it.
Go Eagles.
That's right.
Yeah,
oh, wait a second. Eagles? No, that's in Philadelphia. You tried to trick me.
No. I was saying AU. Go AU.
Yes,
yeah,
AU.
no. I'm definitely not Philadelphia. We're not going there. I'm talking about AU. No, I spent a lot of time
Commander's
there.
boy.
Oh, good. That's
yeah, born and raised DMV. I would never. That's like sacrilegious.
Yeah.
You almost got in trouble, Bobby. You almost got
I know. I scared myself.
Yeah, I think she almost hit the end button. She was about to walk out there. She was like, I'm out of here. Can't be affiliated with these guys. No. So we're Eagles fans here, but Prosper Eagles. My kids go to Prosper, and they're the Eagles. So, but again, not the Philadelphia Eagles.
So we're talking about the Screaming Eagles.
That's it.
Yes,
Yeah,
the Screaming Eagles. Yes, thank you.
Go.
There you go.
So moving forward, so you graduated college and you went to school for real estate.
No, I don't think there is. Well, perhaps it is now, but back then, interestingly enough, I have a degree in business administration with a concentration on marketing. I like to sell things. I like to know how to encourage people to enjoy the things that they need or want. And so I fell into real estate after many years of working in the corporate realm, and then as a consultant, and just decided that if I wanted to stay home mostly and maybe get married and have a family, I would need to stop consulting and being away so many weeks out of the month. So
lots of travel.
There's lots of travel. But at the time, my best friend, Carmela Goodall from high school, she and her husband had a brokerage, and they told me, you'd be great as a real estate agent. And at that
They
point,
were right.
They were right. I called it. And in fact, I thank them every time I see them for basically encouraging me to join a profession that I've grown to love immensely.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like work to me at all, because it's all passion and passion work as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was actually pregnant with our firstborn when I was in real estate school. People used to have to go in for real estate school. You don't have to do that now.
No, nope, something I
Um,
know.
and yeah, and so my daughter, who's 21 now, kind of grew up in the back seat helping me sell real estate,
I
and
love it.
I've enjoyed it. I mean, there were some moments where it was a lot of heavy lifting. You know,
Yeah.
2008, 2009, when the market crashed.
I was in it.
At the beginning of the pandemic, when we didn't know what was going to happen to
That was
us.
scary.
And even now, we're kind of going into another phase. But people probably wonder why I'm so cool and as a cucumber, as they say, only because if you've lived through 2008, 2009, the beginning of the pandemic,
That's it.
whatever's about to happen, you just kind of, you control the controllables.
That's right.
And you use the experience and the skills that you've developed throughout the years to kind of understand that you have to help your clients navigate the choppy waters.
100%. Well, I tell you, in this industry, you kind of got to just put your hands up because it's like a roller coaster ride, right?
Mhm.
Like you don't really know what to expect. But at the same time, if you go back to, the good old fashioned principles and basics of human connection and, hard work and hustle, which is what your podcast is called, ironically, right? You're going to find great opportunity in any business market. And that's the sign of a true professional, is somebody that can adapt and change despite the adversity and overcome it. And quite frankly, if you're passionate about it, and we know that you are, you kind of enjoy it a little bit. Like sometimes it's enjoyable to go, man, this is
Yeah.
tough right now, but that's okay. I like this part. I'm going to find the way to win. Right.
Yeah. I mean, the mantra this year, besides control the controllables, is to, we're here to find solutions. That's what I tell people on my team. We are problem solvers, and we have lots of problems right now. And you always have to wonder, where's the value that you're adding and as a professional real estate agent, and what problems are you solving in the most efficient and effective way?
That's great.
So I'm leaning into that, and just, if there weren't problems and if people didn't need homes, then I don't know what I'd be doing, not this. So,
well, they definitely need homes because you're selling an awful lot of them. And at the end of the day, it's because of your experience, and it's because of your calm, cool, collective demeanor, and the fact that you're passionate about the industry. I can see why it's really easy for people to trust you because you've got the experience. But at the same time, you're guiding them through with confidence, and that's what's important, right? Because a lot of the times, the biggest issue I think a lot of people are experiencing today is education. Right. It's not having a true understanding as to, what the market really is and why this could be a great time to buy a home for anybody. Right.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. So it's also about where are we consuming our data from, and is it a reliable source? Right.
Yeah.
And because of the trust factor that you've built, in this industry, people know you're a reliable source. So now if you're educating, and I know you are,
Yeah. Yes.
then it makes
But
it a lot easier.
I come with the facts. That's the thing. Because absolutely, I can promise you there was some TikTok fella that sent a TikTok and it went viral. And it was all about how the DMV market was crashing and prices were down 50, like something outrageous.
Yeah.
So I had at least 10 clients send me the TikTok, and then I had to create basically the data, that said, no, that's not what I'm seeing. That's not what's happening.
That's it.
Here's the data. And it's not to say that the data isn't shifting and moving. And, I'm not suggesting. At this point, I tell folks, I can see 30 days ahead of me. Yeah. And beyond that, your guess is as good as mine. I cannot begin to predict what's going to happen, but I can tell you, here's where we're at today. Here's where I think we're going to be in 30 days. And, kind of the possibilities that are in front of us. And then it's about your risk aversion and, whether or not you're looking at the world glass half full or half empty.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you got to use the data, and that's wonderful. The wonderful thing about working at Redfin that I love is that we're basically a data company that
you're data driven,
happens to sell real estate. And so we dig into that data and we use it to our clients' benefit. And that's the difference between someone who's doing this because there was easy money when things were, hot and heavy and easy to accomplish, deals. The true professionals are the ones who have to figure out how to navigate through the current situation, the current market, with all of the variations, even in neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't give anyone an answer until I know where they're buying or selling, and then even to the street. This is what's happening, and this is, what you can expect, because it's no longer a blanket, oh, the market is great for sellers, or
Yep.
and we still haven't gotten to the point where we can say to buyers, oh, there's going to be a lot of great deals, because we're not quite there. We're
Right.
heading towards a balanced market. And so my job is just to kind of use the data and help my clients figure
I
it
love
out.
that you talk about data too, Hazel, because data doesn't lie, and math doesn't lie. Like, that's what I always like to tell people, like,
Yeah.
because we're in the lending side of the business, and it's the math doesn't lie. So if we add this up and this is what it is, this is what it is. There's no way around that, right? But
Mhm.
there's a data set that I think a lot of people need to think about too, and that's the historical life in real estate. And if we look back over the last 80 years, we've only had 7 markets where homes depreciated, right? That's seven markets over 80 years, and only twice did that happen in any given decade, right?
Yeah.
So what does that tell you about real estate?
It's so super safe. And that's a conversation I have with people who are buying for the first time. And those are the ones I love the most, because 21 years later, the people I was having this conversation with 21 years ago, now they're in their dream home. They may have some rental properties,
Right.
their children are buying, some grandchildren are buying.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. I tell them, historically, year in, year out, 3% increase in value in real estate. So it's pretty much a safe bet. And
Yeah.
in fact, some of the people I'm working with now are moving their money out of the stock market and looking at real estate again with
That's
a
right.
fresh pair of eyes and going, this may be a safer place to put my money. And so, yeah, I 100% agree with you. The math has to math, and data usually does not lie.
That's right.
And I think using the data helps calm people down, because the one thing that I
Does.
am finding myself dealing with a lot more and wearing a lot more is my therapist hat, because I'm having to kind of tell people it's okay, take a deep breath. The world is not coming to an end.
Yeah.
And let's just look at this practically. People still need a roof over their heads.
That's right.
And most people have to use a mortgage. And oftentimes, even when things fall apart during a particular time in history, they tend to sort themselves out, and then we're back on track.
That's
so
right.
if you've got a long-term, kind of look at or a horizon in terms of, I'm buying this home, I'm going to be here 10 years, then whatever happens in the short term, you're going to be fine. The people I warn about buying real estate right now, because that's the other thing, I believe in being truthful, and I believe in, first and foremost, helping people.
That's right.
Even to my disadvantage, because there are plenty of people I've talked out of selling their homes,
100%.
because
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. I don't think, if you've
Wasn't
got
the right move.
perfect conversation I have almost daily. And here in the DMV, obviously, we've been impacted with the federal government layoffs.
Layoffs, yeah.
And so, I get a phone call. Oh my gosh, should I sell my house? What should I do? And so I ask 3 questions, and then we can start the conversation. Are you marketable? Are you a person who can get another job in the short term? Because sometimes the answer is no, I'm not. Like, I have a very defined set of skills.
That's right.
And it's hard to translate them into other jobs. And, then that conversation may be very different. But if you're marketable, do you plan to stay in the DMV? And do you love your house?
Yeah.
Kind of related, related to that. And then what is your interest rate?
Yeah.
If you've got a super low interest rate and you really want to stay in the area, then we talk about what are the various scenarios you can find yourself in, and what are the solutions. Like, if you really, in the short term, think it's going to take you longer to find a job than until your severance package is used up in September, then maybe you need to consider renting your home. Since you have so much value, you have a lot of equity in the home, rent it. If your mortgage payment is $1,200 and you can rent it for $3,000, $4,000, then maybe that's what you should be doing. And then you've got a little passive income. You can go find a cute little efficiency or live in your parents' basement. Again, sometimes when you face the worst, and know there are potential solutions in that worst case scenario, it allows you to take a deep breath and feel less sense of dread and doom and gloom. And I
Agreed.
found myself having to have these conversations on a daily
Daily.
basis.
Yeah. Daily. Yeah.
So, mhm.
Well, one thing I always like to talk about too, when somebody's thinking about selling their home, interest rate's definitely important. And where are they at with their current rate? That's important as well. But there's another question in there, which is, hey, do you have any financial debt? Right.
Mhm.
And if so, what kind of debt is it? Is it credit card debt? And if that's the case, what's the rate on those credit cards? Because
Yeah.
what a lot of people forget is right now, average credit card rate in the United States is between 25 and 30%. 25 and 30%, right? Now we're talking about data again. That's unbelievable, right? Like that is astronomical. So if you find yourself in a position where you've got a lot of equity in your home, which a lot of people have, right? But you've got a great interest rate on the mortgage, and you want to leverage that equity position to either
Love it.
right, go out and buy another house or
Mhm.
downsize, whatever the case may be. But you've got these credit card debts. You got to look at that in the equation as well, because effectively, if you could take some of that equity that you have in your house and utilize it to offset this debt that a lot of people have accumulated, right? Then now moving from a 3% up to a 6.5% interest rate on the
Doesn't seem
mortgage,
so bad. Yeah,
Especially when
absolutely.
the
you're
math
sitting
works
at
out.
25, 27%, like 6%
Exactly.
sounds a lot better than that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One, it's
In fact, I've
compound interest.
created templates that talk about downsizing and
Yeah.
what that might look like and feel like and why you might want to do it. Because I also feel like if people have something to read and absorb and think through, that's very helpful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have gotten very clever at helping my clients decide, not from a place of fear, but strategic.
That's it.
What makes sense to do right now
Yeah.
based on where I want to see my life and what my options are and what assets I have available and resources. And typically you come to a conclusion that you can live with, and then you can move forward from a place that it feels like a positive move, not, I'm a failure because I have to downsize,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there's that, and when you mention that sometimes when you have a difficult market, it does allow you to dig in and to feel
Yeah.
like you're really adding value, because you've identified solutions for your clients that you wouldn't be talking about or considering
in a normal market, right?
in a normal market. That's
Yeah.
right. So, so yeah, that it's reinforced the value that people who can help buyers make decisions about whether it's a good time to buy, how to buy, talking to a loan officer and understanding the various products and being reminded that, just like you did just now, you're right. There are times when if you look at the holistic view of your life,
That's right.
and all that you've got going on, there's typically a solution that makes sense based on what you could
Absolutely
potentially do.
Well, and for the right person, right? It doesn't apply to everybody, and at the end of the day, for somebody who has no debt or has relatively low debt, they're going to look at that conversation and go, well, that makes no sense for me. You're right. It doesn't make sense for you. We're not talking about that scenario for you,
Yeah.
And that's where it's really about diving in and having that conversation, so that we can have the financial literacy, right? And a true game plan as to whether this is going to make sense for you or not. And then having, the integrity to say, no, this is not the right solution for you right now. Or yes, this is, and this is why, right? And that's why you're doing, what you're doing, Hazel, because you're educating people and you're providing them literacy to help them determine, is this the right plan for me? And if it is, great, let's move forward. Let's buy a house.
Yeah,
And if it's
exactly.
not, it's okay, because guess what? They're going to remember when it is the right timing that Hazel was out there providing great information and telling them the right move for them at that point in time. And now you've built trust. And, I think we're in a little bit of a loss of trust world right now. I think there's a lot of people that have lost trust because there have been so many people out there that are looking to make that quick buck. Especially coming out of COVID and like just seeing what car dealers were doing, like, hey, no, there's a $20,000 markup fee on every single vehicle, and it's just we've lost trust. We have lost trust, and having great people out there like you that are providing that trust and giving people a reason to believe in other people again, it's so important.
Yeah. And what's so satisfying about being a real estate agent, it is truly uh, the most important and the most expensive transaction of most people's lives,
Yep.
right? And um, to know that I was part of it, or was the person who helped make it happen for them and give them the best advice on how to do it. That feels very gratifying,
Yeah.
and you have to take it seriously. That's the
You do.
thing. Nothing frustrates me more than
Mm.
when I feel like an agent. I mean, there's a lot of amazing agents out there, so don't get me wrong, but there
Absolutely.
are
No,
some agents who
absolutely
should
there are.
not be agents. Like they really are
Right.
doing the public and their clients a
The
disservice
service.
because they're not their perspective tends to be more focused on themselves and what the deal means to them.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes that happens because they literally haven't had his paycheck in
Yeah.
months or
That it's
weeks or months,
desperation.
and it's a desperation situation, and that's a terrible place to be in.
It is.
And I give them grace because I can imagine that must be difficult, but ultimately you want to be able to sleep at night.
You
I
have
sleep
to.
well. I am out like a
Well,
log every day because I don't have any sensation that I have done anyone a disservice or didn't
yeah,
give the best advice,
because you haven't.
because I haven't. Exactly. And so that feels good. And so for buyers out there or sellers, make sure that you really consider uh, the trust as a very important, uh, you know, uh,
Amen.
uh, characteristic of the person you're working with.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, even when I'm talking to people who are like, "Well, I've done the past 3 transactions. I really love my agents." And well, why are we speaking? They go, well, because Redfin does they offer amazing discounts on their fees. I'm like,
Right.
okay, but honestly, although I think you can trust me, but I just need you to understand that trust is worth the extra 1%. Always
Mm,
100%. There are going to be
yeah.
times when you will pick the wrong person because of
Thank
the
you.
money, and it will come back to haunt you because you're going to lose so much more than that 1%
Yeah.
that you're gaining because you're hiring someone who has discounted their fees. So I think the trust factor is absolutely 100% important, and that's what I aim to do, is to gain that trust
Yeah.
and to earn it, and to allow them to feel happy to refer me to other people because they know I'm going to do an amazing job for their friends and family as well.
I love that. I love that.
Well, so actually, I wanted to touch on something that you said. You talked about the idea of, how rewarding it is to basically get across with someone who's making their largest financial purchase. There's actually a portion that goes after that. So, like you talked on it a little bit, like, we're not certified financial advisors. We're
Nope.
not, tax professionals. We're not therapists, like you had mentioned. But the
Mm-mm.
reality of it is, we are so heavily invested into these people's lives that we have the power to influence not only this generation, but the next generation of people who come along. So it's like, for me, it's so important to have that strong knowledge to not only help them through this transaction, but to be able to leverage that to be able to change the lives of the future generations of their
Yeah.
families.
Yeah.
So it's like, I love that you brought that up because it's a scary stat, but 95% of Americans never see a financial advisor.
Right.
So if you pair that with going through this process with you or with me or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
like realistically, you are adding such an immense value, or you have the opportunity to add
Yeah.
such immense value to these people's lives. And, I think in addition to like the trust, the knowledge, and, the general kindness that you bring along, this knowledge and this care for people's well-being really, I think, is something that has really contributed to, your success as a
I
whole.
feel that way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and one of the reasons I found real estate, or eventually real estate found me, it actually, the seed was planted when I was in college, because I knew a young lady whose parents were able to write checks for 3 children to go to college. And back then, American University, I believe, was $50,000, and
Yeah.
that was many, many decades ago at this point, right?
That's per semester now.
Yeah, I know, right? Um, so I remember wondering, well, I know her dad's an accountant and the mom works at that local high school in the office. So how are they able to do this? And through just kind of conversation, I found out that her parents inherited the house that they lived in free of any debt. There was no mortgage. So they were able to leverage their income with, towards good investments and being able to take out. I learned the word equity. I did not know
Mm.
what equity was before I kind of learned about, why having a home that's free of a mortgage
Yeah.
or a very low, mortgage principal left on it was so important. And then I became obsessed. Was like, oh, this is how it's done.
Yeah.
And then I remember I woke up one year and I was working in advertising, and one of my direct reports was excitedly told me, "Oh, I bought a condo in Adams Morgan, which is a pretty fun place here in the DMV."
Yeah.
And I was like, if this kid, he was younger than me and
Yeah.
not as ambitious as I I was back then. If this kid can buy a home, I need to buy a house. And I did. I took 4 months. I got a part-time job at Washington Sports Club, and I ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I made it happen. And I had an amazing realtor who not only helped me find the right home, but actually enrolled me in some sort of program where all the money I had saved up, I didn't even use, a quarter of it, because I
Yeah.
was in this first time home buyer program that he put me in, that I was just excited to be buying a house. Didn't even realize he'd done it. So I benefited from having an amazing agent. And so that's the kind of person I want to be to other people.
That's great. That's great. And I love that you talk about that, because people don't always realize, the equity position that you can have when purchasing a home and how that looks not just 1 year away, but 5 years away and 10 years away and 20 years away. And sometimes not even transitioning that property, sometimes leveraging that property to buy the next property so that you can
That's
start to
right.
build your financial,
Yeah.
net worth, right? We see people all the time. We had a gentleman on the show not that long ago, and he built a plan for himself for 10 years. He hasn't hit it yet. He was 5 years in. He started with $500. He's a veteran, so he's able to use the VA financing. And, he's got 34 doors at this point in time. And he's got a $4.5 million real estate portfolio, but he's got about $1.5 million in net worth and started with $500, right?
Gosh.
How do you do
I
that?
need his
Yeah.
phone number too. He sounds
His name's
amazing.
Dylan Bard. You can watch the podcast if you want to get to know him. And he just talked about, he listened to a series of podcasts. He said now those same podcasters charge for their advice, right? But at the time, he was able to just drive around in his car. He was delivering pizzas as he was exiting the military, and just spent that time and behind the wheel, learning about how he could start to build his own, financial
Wow.
legacy. And 5 years in, and $1.5 million net worth. So I love that you talk about that, because generational wealth and long-term wealth and real estate, this can be your retirement plan, and investing it in the right place and doing it wisely, right? With white people like Hazel and Bobby, right? When you get in with true people that you can trust, people that have your best interest at heart and are going to tell you this doesn't make sense for you right now, right? Or this does, right? And lead you in the right direction with data and math that doesn't lie.
Yeah.
This is what this industry is all about, and connecting with those people, that's what's so important. That's part of the reason why we do the podcast, because we want for people to be able to find the right people that they can trust, Hazel.
Yeah.
So, I genuinely appreciate you jumping on here with us today, and I would love to keep this going, but I saw your phone blowing up in the back. What have we not covered today that we should have?
Yeah. I mean, again, we talked about generational wealth, which has been my soapbox for decades now, and I think that aligning yourself with professionals who can guide you through this process is important. If you are starting out your career in real estate or lending, finding a coach or a mentor who can help
Yes.
guide you and teach you how to do things in a manner that allows you to enjoy a successful and emotionally and financially successful career, because you've built a great foundation. I think those are things that are important. And, I just love the opportunity. Thank you so much to talk a little bit more about the things I'm very passionate about.
Absolutely.
And talk about the things that I'm up to. Again, Let's Hustle Homes with Hazel.
Get
It's
over there, guys.
primarily meant for professionals, because I feel like I'm going into my coaching era. I love selling real estate, but I feel like there's some other opportunities, and an opportunity for me to gain even more of a legacy,
Yeah.
because I'm going to help other people
Thank
do
you.
what I've done. and the past 21 years. And if I can do that, that means I've helped even more people get into homes, sell homes, build their generational wealth in a way that I can't even begin to imagine as I'm sitting here talking with you, how that can eventually be my legacy. That and my amazing children.
Well, you're pulling at my heartstrings because I literally talk about that all the time, right? You know,
Mhm.
I am a mortgage coach, and, you know, being able to empower people with the knowledge, you know, that I have and help use that as an opportunity to leverage helping other families. I can only help so many by myself. But
Yep.
when we, you know, support and coach and mentor the masses, all the people that they're helping, right? And then helping their own families as well, right? Like it's very rewarding to be able to leave that behind and say, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm
Yep.
doing this for the people, you know? And I feel that from you, Hazel. I know you mean that. And,
Thank
you
you.
know, yeah. So again,
Mhm.
thank you so much for coming on today. I'm sure there's a lot of people that needed to hear your message, and now they have. And if they want to hear more, go check out the podcast. And if they want to buy a home,
Yes.
what market are you in?
So I'm in the DMV, so DC, Maryland, Virginia. Happy to help. But not only that, at Redfin, because we are employees of the company and we're not your traditional brokerage, we actually know each other across the country. So even if you don't have anyone that you feel you can trust, if you call me, I will absolutely 100% give you, information and introduce you to someone amazing where you're looking to buy and sell. So I am here to help, and I'm sure you'll provide them with information to reach out to me. And yeah, I mean, invite me back.
Yeah,
I
of
feel
course.
like we've only scratched the surface. There's
Oh, we
probably
definitely,
so
there's
much
so
more
much
that we
more,
can talk about.
so much
Yeah.
more.
Well, so
Well,
maybe the next move is to have me and Devin on yours, and we talk
How
about
about
our
that one?
profession.
I'm
Yes,
in.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sign me up.
100.
Let me know. We'll 100% make that happen. And if anybody else, you know, or if you guys want to see that, and comment below, right? Like, let us know if you want to hear that follow up
Yeah.
podcast, right? Let us know. We want to make that happen for you guys. So, and we will give out your info. But go ahead. What's the best way to find you, right? Like, you know,
Well, if you go to redfin.com and put in my full name, Hazel, Hazel Shakur, like Tupac, Shakur. For those people who've been around for a minute, you'll know what I'm referencing. That's how you can reach me. And yes, by all means, give people my phone number. It's
yes,
surprisingly, people get shocked when it's me who answers the phone because I think they think I'm so busy that I can't answer my own phone. But actually, that's an important part of my job is answering
it
my own
is.
phone calls and making
Yeah.
sure that I'm helping people in real time and
What's
giving them
that
the
number?
resources that they need.
Yep.
301-377-2042.
And by the way, I did get the reference because I get around.
Oh, love it. I love it.
I was going to say something in the beginning, but I'm glad
Yeah.
you did. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
So,
And Bobby, poor Bobby. He's like, okay, I think I know
Oh
what
no,
you're talking
no,
I
about.
he
get
knows.
around. No, no, come on, I'm 39.
I
I'm an
love it.
80s baby.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Oh, that's
So
right. You were
Yeah.
the kid I was babysitting back then
exactly, you were the one who was
and
playing that
listening to
music
all these
for
songs
me,
that you shouldn't have been
and we
hearing.
exactly, yeah, that was me. So
I
I
love
I
it.
love
was
it.
born and raised with that. It was funny actually. I put up a motivational post this morning on my social, and I
Yeah.
referenced New Jack City,
Oh
and
my goodness.
it was just funny. Like you brought that up, and it sort of just made me think. Like it was,
90s hip hop vibes going on up in
yeah. I
here,
don't know what
right?
it
Yeah,
is. Maybe it's just
absolutely.
in the air today.
Well,
Oh,
guys, you probably saw that number run right across the bottom of the screen. But if you didn't catch it and you're driving and couldn't write it down, when you get stopped and you're safe, go check out the description. We're going to have all the Hazel's information right down there. And we recommend reach out to her. Like she said, it doesn't matter if you're in the DMV or if you just need great information across the nation, right? She works for Redfin. She's got access to all the data. I promise
yeah.
you, they
Yeah.
got it over there.
And
So,
I love talking, so call me.
yeah, she's good at it. She's really, if you
Thank
this
you.
social proof right here. Bobby Zapol, my man, you're up there in a similar marketplace, and you do lending. If folks out there want to find you, where do you do business, and how do they get a hold of you?
100%. So, for me, I am in the DMV area as well. As of right now, I service the states of Maryland, Virginia, actually Florida and Texas as well. I have close personal connections with those states. So, I just felt like I needed to jump into those as well. In addition, if you need to sort of find me in any way, you can literally Google my name. I have a Google business page. In addition, my Instagram is Lend It with Bobby. So you can always find me there. And my direct number, you'll probably find right down below here, is 301-922-4970. And obviously, I know that in addition to building relationships, being available is going to be one of the most number one important things in this industry. So
No answer.
you can call me Sunday through Sunday, and I will be available.
That's it. I love it. I love it. Well, guys, thanks again for coming on. And guys, thanks for tuning in. If you've made it this far, make sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe, share this with 3 friends. Go over and follow Hazel. Go follow Bobby. And, you're going to love what you see because they're out there educating the community and helping others, find the right answers. Is it right time to buy or not? Maybe it isn't. Depends on your situation.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Call them. They're going to answer.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess, guys, that's going to do it for today. So until the next time, we'll see you then.